Hello, hello, Chalk Mercantile and Surface Anthology. It's Jane. Happy Thursday. I have a new project that I'm starting today. I think you're really gonna like. It's a little child's, I call it a farmhouse chair. This is an antique. And let me tell you, I've agonized about painting this chair. But it was originally painted. And as you can see here, the paint has been stripped off. I don't remember where I got this. It might have just been at my mom's house forever, but it's one of those pieces that I've had around forever. So today I'm going to be painting it, and I did agonize, let me just tell you. It even had, can you see these nail holes all the way around? It might have had fabric or something around the seat. Who knows? But we're going to be painting this today. My little grandson Mateo loves to sit in it, and it's really sturdy, which is great. So I'm actually going to paint it pink. I'm going to start though with white. So we're going to do a base coat of white. Then tomorrow I'm going to be using a beeswax puck to create a layered effect with the second coat of, that will be the pink milk paint. And I wouldn't use chalk paint on this, and I use chalk paint a lot. This just begs for milk paint. It's an antique. Somebody stripped it down. It's chippy. I didn't remove all the little chips because I want them to do their thing. It just begs for milk paint. So this is Miss Mustard Seed. I'm getting down to the bottom here. This is Farmhouse White, and I'm gonna mix a little bit of ironstone in. So two different color whites. Good thing about milk paint, you can create really beautiful custom colors really easily. And if you treat it like baking, not like me, but you use a measuring spoon, you can just write down your formula. You know, 2 spoonfuls of this color, 2 spoonfuls of that color, and you'll always have that recipe, that milk paint recipe. So there's the 2 colors. I've got a bunch of lights on here. It's dark today, but I really need one overhead, which I don't have. Something to work on. All right, I'm gonna throw in some water, and it's normally half and half. Half milk paint, half water. But the other good thing about milk paint is you can mix it up the way that you want and the way you want to use it. Now I'm going to let this sit, and I always advise mix your milk paint up at least 10-15 minutes before. Not like me. I wanted to show you guys how easy it is to mix milk paint, but watch what's going to happen. So see how it is now. This is going to get much thicker. So we're going to put this aside, and I'm going to do a little housekeeping, what's going on at Chalk and Surface Anthology. Chalk Mercantile, we've got some fabulous new products. I'm no longer carrying Authentico chalk paint, the vintage. I am now carrying Amy Howard at Home one-step paint. And if you've been a customer of mine, this was the first paint line that I carried, and I'm carrying it again. And I just got in these adorable little 4-ounce sample pots. So if you go to chalkmercantile.com, you'll find the one-step paint, and you'll find it in the 16-ounce and then now in the new 4-ounce. I haven't put these all up yet on the website. So if you don't see a color you want, wait. I'm going to try to get that done today. There's a lot of colors. And the other thing is, and I'm sure you've heard me talk about this, the Surface Anthology, that's my other website, that's a little crazy right now. It went down a couple of days ago, and they've got it kind of back up again, but it's not quite ready yet. So hopefully by tomorrow you could go to surfaceanthology.com. But my membership, my decorative painting membership is opening in a few days. And a bunch of you have signed up on the wait list. So keep your eyes peeled because I'm going to send out an email when it's going to open, what the bonuses are for early signups, and all that good stuff. So if you want to be on the wait list, you can just go to chalkmercantile.com. Right on the front banner, it says something big's happening, and just put your name and your email in there, and you'll be on the wait list. All right, you guys, let's go back to our milk paint. And look at this. It's so thick. This is too thick. But as I said, this is what happens. It just absorbs the water. So I'm going to add a little bit more water. Add less than you think you need, because you can always add more water, but you can't, well, you can take water away by leaving it with no cover on it, and the water will evaporate. All right. Much better. I'm going to add just a touch more. And when I'm using milk paint, you see me using this little mini whisk. Every time I dip my brush in, I kind of give it a little agitation. Milk paint is all natural. Everything settles at the bottom. So you need to keep kind of mixing it. All right, this is perfect. Just the way I like it. I'm going to throw this into my water, clear out, and I'm going to show you where I begin when I'm working on a chair. And I didn't think of this. It was somebody who paints chairs. He's like, start at the bottom. So that's what I'm going to do here. And I'm using a little synthetic brush. This is the Authentico 1-inch brush, and I do have these at chalkmercantile.com. It's my favorite size brush, and for something like this, it's perfect. And give it a little agitation. And here we go. Just start painting, Jane. And the good thing about starting at the bottom, if you don't like the color, it's too thick, it's too thin, you can stop. Nobody's going to be really looking at the bottom of your chair, and you can go adjust. And milk paint has been around for, just like chalk paint actually, thousands of years. They would mix pigments into milk, into blood, into anything that could bind with the pigment and paint with it. Chalk paint also. Get those pigments, put it into lime and different kinds of natural minerals, and you would get a chalk paint. Okay, and you see how fast this goes. And yep, I'm kind of going all over the place. Then I smooth it out. Now the challenge that a lot of people tell me about, and I experience also, are the spindles. So you'll see how I do that. And I just, I just suffer through it like everybody else. Some people use sponges. I don't know. I have to use my brush. All right, here we go with these legs. And these are really beautiful. There's this like, I don't know, this really kind of unique design. It looks Victorian to me. And I suspect these legs might have been cut, but who knows? And I'm kind of not getting every single little nook and cranny because I really want to create a rustic farmhouse look. But it goes pretty fast. And if you do want to use a sponge, I don't know who the manufacturer is, but it's actually got a cutout to kind of go around, you know, legs, spindles, that kind of thing. Now, how many of you out there have done something like this and agonized like me? You know, it's very, very rare that I will paint an antique. And if you've seen the gray Empire dresser that I did, you can see it on my Facebook page, either Surface Anthology or Chalk Mercantile. I love Empire furniture. I collect it. I have it in my house. And it's not the pieces in my house are not painted. They're the original finish. But that piece that I painted was in such bad shape that it couldn't be left alone. So I had to paint it, you guys. And that piece I actually used chalk paint. And I had a lot of fun with that. I created that urn design. You can see that at my YouTube channel, Surface Anthology. And I show you how I painted that urn, how I drew it. And that's really easy too. All right, I'm rocking and rolling here. Now I'm gonna turn this. I haven't painted the edge, so I'm gonna turn it, and then this allows you to continue around and get in everywhere. I don't want to apply a really thick coat. I don't want gloppy beading, pooling. And that's why I don't want my milk paint too thick, because that's what will happen. And if it's too thin, it'll just be dripping everywhere. Okay, let's get this one right down in the front. So with furniture, the other antique that I will paint is something like this, where I knew it was originally painted. Somebody was stripping it. And I feel if I can keep it as authentic, keep the finish authentic, no poly, no latex, no wall paint, but use what it would have been painted in. I don't use oil paint. And they did have oil paint back then, but that's just too messy. So I think milk paint is the perfect farmhouse paint, farmhouse style. All right, let's turn this. And I just have some more edges here. And when you're painting something like this, I hear a lot, and one of the bonuses I'm working on is a project planner. I sent out a survey a few months ago and I asked, what do you struggle with most when it comes to painting? And the majority of people said, and I was surprised, they couldn't find the time. They were too busy, you know, too much going on. And they thought of painting as, you know, you sit down and you start the project and you complete the project all in one sitting. I don't do that, and I'm sure you see that I don't do that. I have to do it in stages and steps. You know, and when I used to do painting custom work, and I might have had a deadline, then you'd see me really hustle to get it done. But you don't have to do that. You could say to yourself, okay, I'm gonna mix up enough of this milk paint to do the bottom of the chair, the legs of the chair, and then I'm going to walk away until I have another, you know, half an hour to spend. And if you do that, if you break down your project into steps and into like little, you know, limited amount of time, you know, the windows, like half an hour, 2 times a week, before you know it, you'll get it done. Otherwise, it's gonna sit in your garage and never get done. So find those little windows of time. Okay, so I've got the bottom done. And now, the favorite part is the seat, because you really get to see the color. Of course, I'm just, you know, when you do this, go look at your work. If there's any areas that look like they might be pooling, just hit it with your brush. Okay, that looks good. And now for the seat. There we go. The other good thing about this chair, you know, knock on wood, it's not bleeding. So there's no tannins or stain so far from the wood coming through. And boy, my brush is starting to drag, and that's because the raw wood is absorbing the paint and it's drying really, really fast. The other thing you'll notice when you're using milk paint as opposed to chalk paint, milk paint's got texture, it's got some grit, some colors more than other colors for sure. So you have to be kind of accepting of that, embrace it. You can strain it. You can get a paint strainer and strain your paint if it bothers you, or if you use another brand like Amy Howard Toscana paint, when you mix it, sometimes it makes a foam. So running that through a paint strainer is a really good idea, because you don't want to paint with foam unless it's a technique that you've developed. All right, just smoothing it around here and going around the edge, and you see how fast this is. And something you'll see too that scares a lot of beginner painters is they'll do the first coat like this and go, oh my God, it looks awful. Oh, it looks terrible. What was I thinking? It's all streaky. It's all solid. That is going to change. If your first coat looks so perfect you can't see through it, you don't see any of the wood grain, you're applying too much paint and you can get pooling and sagging and all kinds of stuff. So that's why we like the ugly look. So I want to show you guys, there is a little bit of bleeding, and I think it's going to be covered up when I use the pink, the arabesque color. Let's see if I can show you. Can you see it right here? So we'll watch that. If it's really bad, I'll show you tomorrow what I'm going to do. But I see one spot here and one spot there. And there's many different things you can do for that. I have had situations with custom work where somebody who has a 1930s mahogany dresser, they want it to be snow white. And I have had, and I know all the painters that are listening to this can relate, cherry bleeding, brown, orange coming through. And what I use, my absolute favorite product to use is Windsor Bullseye Shellac. But I've done pieces where I put on 5, 6 coats, layers of Windsor, and the piece is still bleeding. So what does that tell you, right? That maybe this piece isn't going to be white. It's just not going to happen. Some pieces will just tell you, and it can be frustrating, that that is not the color for them. And this is the other reason why you'll hear me say, if you don't need to sand a piece, don't, because it opens up the finish and all of that bleeding can then happen. All right. Now, the chairs, another set that I'm going to do, part of this painting series, are full-size Windsor chairs. And you almost have to go to like a Zen place when you're doing spindles, because with like a Windsor chair, there's a lot of spindles and it could be really frustrating and really take a long time to paint them all. So you kind of have to just go to that Zen relax place where you're painting the spindles. They'll get done when they get done, and that's that. You could always go to a professional painter and have them do it, and they'll brush it out too. You know, spraying a piece definitely is faster, but you're not going to get that beautiful authentic finish when you spray a piece. You could spray the first coat and then brush out the second coat. I've done that. I've actually done that by rolling out a first coat and then brushing out the second. So you still get the benefit of the beautiful brush strokes and just the authentic painted surface. So we're almost done here. The other thing I wanted to say about Windsor chairs, because I've argued with customers who would come to my shop about painted Windsor chairs. Windsor chairs were always painted, always painted. Original Windsor chairs were made with, I think, 4 different species of wood because of the way that they're constructed. And they were kind of outdoor chairs in, I think, England or Ireland or both, like garden chairs. And they would paint them dark green, black. And then you find Windsor chairs in their original paint in the United States, some of the beautiful reds and yellows, blues. If you find a Windsor chair in its original paint, an antique Windsor chair, it's a museum piece because unfortunately they were all stripped. So many of them were stripped of their stunning original painted surfaces. So paint your Windsor chairs. Just choose a product like milk paint. Finish it with hemp oil or beeswax to give it that authentic finish. All right, look at this. I'm at the top of the chair. I'm gonna let this dry. We'll see tomorrow how this little spot right here and right here do. If it spreads and gets really bad, I'm gonna have to get out the Zinsser because I just don't want it to break through the pink. The pink that I want to use is a pale pink. It's Arabesque by Miss Mustard Seed. And I love the color. It's beautiful. It's not a candy, sickening Pepto-Bismol pink. It's really beautiful. All right, there is our chair. Now, milk paint takes, I would say this will take about a half an hour, 45 minutes to dry. It's already getting absorbed into that seat and drying really well. So join me tomorrow about the same time. It's 1 o'clock, probably between 11 and 12. And I forgot to, for people in my text club, I forgot to send out the text. I've been trying to send out a text when I go live. I don't have that number in front of me, but it's on my Facebook pages, both Surface Anthology and Chalk Mercantile. So to sum it up, we are milk painting this wonderful little, I'll lean it back so you guys can see, farmhouse chair with Miss Mustard Seed Milk Paint. And I'm going to be doing a second coat in a beautiful pink tomorrow. But we're going to do something with beeswax to create some chipping and some natural age to the piece. And remember, if you're interested in the Surface Anthology membership, where we will be exploring paint finishes like this, but going even deeper into them and creating some really beautiful, authentic, heirloom quality paint finishes. And it sounds a little serious, but we're going to also be doing some really fun projects so that you can create not just paint finishes for chairs, but for floors, doors, signs, any kind of decor that you could throw some paint on. We'll be exploring. So go to chalkmercantile.com, sign up for the wait list, and you guys have a wonderful day today and happy painting.